As I made my way deeper into the room, I began to hear what one would hear in a forest. Chirping of bugs, the occasional flapping of birds seemed to be my only company in this room. But that was the thing that bothered me the most. I heard the bugs and the other animals, but I didn't see any. I began to wonder how big this house was. From the outside, when I walked in, it looked like a regular house. It was definitely bigger on the side, but this was almost a full forest. The canopy that covered my view from the ceiling, but I assumed it was still there. However, how high it was, I couldn't see the walls on either side. The only thing I knew that was still inside the house was because the floor matched the other rooms, the standard wood planning. I kept walking, hoping the next tree I passed would relieve the next door. For a few moments of walking, I felt a mosquito land on my arm. I shook it off and kept going. A second later, I felt about 10 more landing on my skin in different places. I felt them crawling up and down my arms and legs for a few that made their way across my face. I fairly wildly tried to get them off, but they kept crawling. I looked down and let out a muffled scream, more like a whimper to be honest. I didn't see a single bug. Not one bug was on me, but I could feel them crawling. I heard them fly by my face and sting my skin, but I couldn't see a single one. I dropped to the ground and began to roll wildly. I was desperate. I hate bugs, especially ones that I couldn't touch or see, but these bugs could see me. These bugs could touch me, and they were everywhere. I began to crawl. I had no idea where I was going. The entrance was nowhere in my sight. I still hadn't even found the exit. So I just kept crawling, my skin wiggly with the presence of those phantom bugs. After it seemed like hours, I found the door. I grabbed onto the nearest tree and propped myself up, madnessly slapping my arms and legs, but to no avail. I tried to run, but I couldn't. My body was exhausted from crawling and dealing with what was ever on me. I took a few shaky steps to the door, grabbing each tree for support on the way. It was only a few feet away when I heard it, that low hum from before. It was coming from the next room. It was deeper. I could feel it inside my body, like standing next to it, an amp at a concert. The bugs on me lessened as the hum grew louder. As I placed my hand on the doorknob, the bugs were completely gone, but I couldn't bring myself to opening the door. I knew that if I let go, the bugs would return, and there was no way in hell I would make it back to room 4. I stood there with my head pressed against the door, marked for 6, my hands shakily grasping the knob. The low hum was so loud I couldn't even hear myself pretend to think. There was nothing I could do but move on. Room 6 was next, and room 6 was hell. I closed the door behind me, my eyes held shut and my ears ringing. The hum surrounded me. As the door clicked in place, the hum was gone. I opened my eyes and surprised, the door shut was gone. It was just a wall now. I looked around in shock. The room was identical to room 3 and the chair and the lamp, but this time the correct amount of shadows this time. The only real difference was that there was no exit, and the one I came through was gone. As I said before, I had no previous issue of mental instability, but at this moment I knew I flew into I now known as insanity. I didn't scream, I didn't make a sound. At first I scratched softly. The walls was tough, but I knew that there was a door somewhere. I just knew it. I scratched for a knob. I scratched where a knob was. I crawled on the floor. I crawled on the wall, frantically, with both hands. My nails began to file down to the skin, though against the wood. I flew slightly to my knees, and the only sound in the room was the instant of scratching against the wall. I knew that there was a door there. I just knew it. If I could just get past this wall. Are you okay? I jumped back off the ground and spun around in one motion. I leaned against the wall. Behind me, I saw what was that had spoken to me, and to this day, I regret turning around. There was a little girl. She was wearing a soft, white dress that went down to her ankles. Her hair was long blonde that went to the middle of her back. Her skin and her white skin and blue eyes. She was the most terrifying thing I have ever seen. And to know that nothing in my life will ever be as unnerving as what I saw in her. While she stood there, I saw something else. Where she stood, I saw something that looked like a man's body, only larger than normal, covered in hair. He was naked from head to toe, but his head was not of human, and his toes were hooves. It wasn't the devil, but at this moment it might well have been. His head was the form of a ram, and his snout of a wolf. It was almost horrifying. It was horrifying, and it was the symbiote with the little girl in front of me. They were in the same form. I couldn't really describe it, but I saw them at the same time. They shared the same spot in the room, but it was like looking in two separate dimensions. When I saw the girl, I saw the form, and when I saw the form, I saw the girl. I couldn't speak. I could barely even see. My mind was in revolting against the wall. It was trying to attempt what was processed. I had been scared before in my life, but I had never been more scared than what I was trapped in the room in the fourth room, but that was before room 6. I just stood there staring at what was ever it was that spoke to me. There was no exit. I was trapped here with it, and he spoke again. David, you should have listened.